Hey guys, Aaron here. Today I'm doing something that I haven't done before. I'm going to do kind of a combo review of my two custom grams. So, John Graham is a knife maker based in Cleveland, Tennessee. He is easily one of my all time favorite knife makers. He's become a good friend just through the dealings that I've had with him, seeing him at shows, placing orders with him, going down and visiting him at his shop and whatnot. And coincidentally, John was one of the first custom knife makers that I met back before I had any custom knives. And he was also one of the first custom knives I ever owned. I think he was in like the first three. My first ever was a Hoback, but I think a Graham GT might have been number two or so. So, as I've said before, this is the first time that I'm doing a combined review. This isn't going to be quite as specific as I get in some of my previous ones, but I wanted to showcase these two examples of John's work together so you could kind of see some progression and see what he does. First up is the Razel GT, or Gentleman's Tactical. This is one of John's smaller folders. The Razel blade here, by definition, is a mixture between a razor rather, and a chisel. That effectively gives you a lean, hollow ground primary slicing edge here, and then paired with a little thicker flat ground Razel tip here. The kind of the thought process behind that blade shape is the tip will allow you to press cut, kind of scrape, do stuff like that. You could scrape, you could press cut with it, that kind of stuff. The steel that John used in this knife is CTX XHP, one of Carpenter's new powdered metallurgy steels. I like XHP quite a bit. It's one of my favorites because it is a high carbon, high chromium stainless steel. It was conceptualized by Carpenter to be a stainless version of D2. I have found through use, just daily use, that it maintains its edge pretty well. And when it comes time to sharpen it or strop it, it doesn't take too much work to get it back to where John had it. And let me tell you one thing: John can make steel sharp. So ergonomically, the knife here is small, but it works pretty great. The kind of this cutout here between the flipper and sort of this negative angle in the back sits right in your hand like that. See if I'm just trying to make sure that my camera's focusing for you like that. My only gripe with this folder, as you can see when I grab it, is the clip kind of hits you right in the second knuckle of your pinky finger there. It's not really a hot spot. It's just definitely something that I can feel and notice. I wouldn't call it a big deal or really a deal breaker or anything like that. I just thought for the sake of the review, it was worth pointing out. Also, as you can see, these handles, this is what John calls his flip-flop folder. So on the show side, you have orange peel titanium with a silver lightning strike carbon fiber bolster. Flip-flopped on the other side, you have a silver lightning strike carbon fiber handle with a orange peeled titanium bolster. And one of the really cool things you can see is that the bolster work here is integral. So instead of being bolt-on parts that bolt onto liners, these are the actual liners and frames that are milled down to be the bolsters. So that's a lot of machine work right there. You can feel the transition just because the materials have different textures, but they are matched perfectly. So let's talk a little bit about the tail clip here. This is a Graham proprietary tail clip. The clip wraps around, as you can see, the butt of the knife, and this allows you to press the knife. Let me close it. You press the knife back against the seam of your pocket and down, and it lips over the edge, lips over the edge of your pocket when you insert it, and it keeps the knife seated deeply. So the knife rides completely deep into your pocket. and for the most part is concealed entirely. To remove the knife, instead of grabbing like the side of your pocket and pulling it out, you reach in and you pinch it between your forefinger and your thumb and you pull it back against that and the clip lets go. Lots of people make good pocket clips, but I really think that these are some of the best. I think that they conceal what you're carrying. I think that they carry it deep and securely, and I just think they're really cool. So, anyway. Next up, let's talk about the bigger knife on the table. This is John Graham's GL folder, or Graham Large. This has a linerless marbled carbon fiber scale, and Mokutai accents, which on the lock side double as the over travel stop. And you've got a darkened acid and stone washed titanium lock side. And then you have a Mokutai, as he calls it, temple tickler backspacer, floating backspacer here. So the blade on this one is a multi-ground Tanto. You can see here. There are practical reasons behind having a multi-ground blade, primarily having a thinly ground main edge here, backed up by a stronger flat ground tip. When incorporated into a Tanto, this puts some strength behind the tip, allowing it to stand up to piercing tasks, stuff like that, stabbing, whatever. Let's see here. For this particular knife, John used CTS B75P, which I know Brad Southard used on some of his mid-tech runs. I didn't know a whole lot about this steel at the time, and I guess what John was telling me is that B75P is essentially Carpenter's answer to BG42. On Alpha Knife Supply's website, they talk about B75P being manufactured by Carpenter because Carpenter bought Latrobe, who used to make BG42. BG42 was primarily a ball bearing steel developed for the aerospace industry. Carpenter bought Latrobe and now makes the same steel under the B75P moniker. John even said the heat treat for B75P is the same as what BG42 used to be. The only major difference between the two now is that the CTS steel, the Carpenter steel, is made through a powdered metallurgical process, just giving it a finer grain and allowing it to take a little sharper of an edge. I don't have a ton of use experience with it. This is a relatively new knife for me, but by the numbers, the steel itself should be very stain resistant, hold a good edge, and it came from John with the ability to shave, so it still can. And one last thing that I want to point out is just this really nicely crowned spine. He rounded out the spine there. I think that's always a classy touch on a knife. So as far as the ergos go on this particular knife, the handle's a little bit bigger, so it allows him to sculpt a little bit more. You have kind of this front finger choil here, your back fingers rest along there, and it's just a nice secure grip. You've got some jimping up here that's really functional, and your hand clears the clip for the most part, so that's not an issue on this one at all. Between the jimping and the flipper tab, it really locks your grip in. So I just, all in all, I think this knife is just an A+. I really, really like this knife. So that kind of wraps up my review of these two knives. Just kind of in broad strokes, John is known for sharp knives. He's known for the Razel. He's known for the tail clip. He's known for stiff detents that makes knives flip like crazy. Just all in all, he makes a really, really nice knife. He enjoys carving titanium on the handles. He enjoys experimenting with grinds like he did here. He has a wide assortment of blade shapes that he uses. He's just a good guy. He's a good knife maker. If you ever have the chance to get something from him, I recommend it. In addition to that, he occasionally makes mid-tech runs available, and he sells them through his website. I will have a link to his website in the description. Go down there and check it out. See if you can snag one. He puts them up from time to time, so he may have some available now. I'm not certain. I encourage you to check out my channel sponsor, Blade HQ. Their link will be in the description as well. If you click through my link and you purchase anything on their website, it will help me continue to bring you videos like this. I try and make them informative, and I try and make them structured, at least to some degree, so that I don't get off on too much of a tangent. And I would really appreciate it. I look forward to all of your comments as usual. And yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks a lot. Take it easy.